Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So here we've finished with marking this particular test, and this will show all the list of all tests that are marked right here for all students. Okay, so now what we need is to get this very view that we are seeing here, and this is the view that's supposed to go to the student's profile. And right now if I click on tests, it shows me the tests that this user could actually take. But instead of this, I want us to display the tests that the user has actually taken. That makes more sense instead of this. So we will have to change what's here and put the other stuff. Now, if you notice there's a missing text here, it's only that the text color becomes white. That's why we don't see it. And that's because we added different CSS here. For example, when I click and select this, when this becomes active, it changes the text to white. So that's what it's trying to copy here. So let's fix that real quick by going to private views, and this should be in the nav. I'm thinking, yes, so active, there we go, white. Now instead of all that, what we need to do is target the navigation. Okay, so let me just put a class called main nav like this. That way I can let me copy this, and that way I can put this here, say nav.active, same thing here, and put a dot. Oh wait, I should leave a space there, sorry. Okay, same thing here. Nav, where was that? Nav. Okay, so I was using nav there. So instead of this nav, I'll remove that and use the class name instead. So remove this nav here, main nav, that's okay. So let's see if that solves the problem. So refresh, and I can see my text now. Can I still see this? No, I cannot. So let me undo here and see where I made a mistake. Let's go step by step. I will refresh and click there. So things are still not working there because main nav.active. So let's do this. Refresh. Okay. Okay, so the reason that isn't working is, let's see, this one is nav. So the one that has really a problem is this one. So instead of this, let's just change the class name, shall we? That way we don't have to interfere with this. So I'm going to look at all the instances, which are these here. So what I would do is, let me just say active dash nav, like so. Let's see if we can do the same thing here. So select all of this by pressing Ctrl D and then put dash nav. Let's see if that does the trick. Okay, so it works there. And if we come back to where we were, refresh, and things are still working. Okay, so change that class name there and change where you are referencing it as well. Okay, cool. So now that we're done with that, we need to specify a view for this. Okay, so that when we click view, we can actually view the test itself. Now the view that we want is the one that has the score, the student name, the lecturer, and all those details. Now we have that on the view where the view that the teacher sees after marking a test, and that one is on the to mark. That's where it is. When we click something here, that's the view we see. So that's the view we want here. So instead of marked, marked is here, but when we click here, we're supposed to create another controller. Now what we're going to name this one is, it's going to be something like single test, right? But instead of single test, I think we're going to name it single marked test or something, or single test marked. That's entirely up to you. how you want to name these things. But what we're going to be copying is the toMark situation. So copy everything from toMark and create a new file in the controllers, paste, and let's change this guy to single test underscore test, but then we put marked like this to differentiate it from the other one. So let's see, marked tests view, let's say single here. Or what we could do instead of single test marked, we can just say marked single, something like that. Maybe that will make sense, because marked here shows many, but then we can do marked underscore single like that. So this is entirely up to you how you want to name these things. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. These are just URLs anyway. So I'm going to say marked underscore single like that .php. Okay, so once we have this, now this one, the view is not lecturer but student, because even students should be able to see their own performance. So yeah, that should be one of those. And let's see what we're going to get here. So once all this is done, instead of sending this to mark, we're going to send this to marked single. Let's change this one to say marked single. Just like that here. Same thing here. Let's change this to marked single, marked dash single like that, and that should do it for now. Then let's go down here and remember that we are copying from toMark, so that's where we'll get our content. So these two files here, toMark Inc, toMark View. So copy that one as well. Let's add this to our, we probably needed better organization here because there are too many files in here, but hey, this is what we've got to work with. So marked single, so hyphen single dot view dot php, and then back here again to toMark Inc, this one right here. Copy that and let's create a new file inside views, paste, save, and then let's do the same thing again, marked dash single dot inc dot php. Okay, so now I want marked single dot view and change this as well to reference marked single like this. Okay, so cool. Now the other thing we need is for this to be referenced here when we want to read, and also we need to add the user ID at the end of this URL. So let's go to marked include. Where is that? Let's go down here. This one is marked inc. This is where the button is that sends us to single test, but instead of this, we're going to change this to marked underscore single. Is that the controller? Yes, that's the controller name. That's what we are changing it to. And then we need to add one more item here. So I'm going to duplicate this part, put a slash between the two, and then I want to add the user ID here. User underscore ID. So test row, by the way, this is supposed to be in the same user where there's first name and last name, isn't it? Wait a second here. I need to know the student, where the student is. So let me look at the column that has student, which is the second column from test name. So test name is this one. So this is the one we want. So test row user, that's what we want. So let's put that here, test row user, and then user ID. So test row user, user ID. That should do the trick. So refresh. So if I hover on this, I should see all the content that I need, and then let me click go. and it's taking me to this one, marked single. Oh, I see. So I did make a mistake here. It's not to mark. That's what we need is it's supposed to be mark test. Sorry about that. So let's go up here and change. It's supposed to be, let's see, to mark is that list, but what we want is that single view of the page. So that one should be mark test actually. So sorry about all that. Let me copy the insides of this controller, and that's what I need. So copy the insides of this controller, go back to mark_single, and remove everything in here, paste to replace the internals like this, then change the view to marked single like that, because that's the view we want. And let's change the access level as well to student here. All right, yes, that should do for now. And then let's go to the view again and do the same thing. The one we copied here is mark test, so we're going to do the same thing down here. So where is mark test? Right here, mark test view. Copy everything from mark test view, go to marked single and paste to replace. And what are we replacing? Yes, we want to replace that. So this is the file that we actually need to view. So mark test tab view. So instead we went to marked ink here. We actually called it marked single ink. So we don't need this anymore. Marked single ink is not required. So marked single ink, this one. So remove that. Okay, so what we need to create is, this is mark test tab view. So let's change this to marked single like that. Tab view. Whether we need the tab there in the name, I don't know, but why not? So let me copy this. Let's create a new file and name it exactly that. So refresh, new file, save this, and let's name it that and do .php. Now the contents of this should be the same as mark test. Where is mark test here? Mark test view, yes, and mark test tab view. Okay, so copy that, mark test tab view, and let's go to mark single tab view, the one we just created, and paste in there. So let me save that. So this should work now. Instead of us viewing a list like this, we should see one file. So let's go back to marked here, and let me click here. Okay, so we're actually seeing what we need to see. So we have our student name, the class, and the test details. But let's go to the next video to fix the problems we see here.